UFC Fight Night, Emmett versus Vallejos is upon us, and there's no opening rap. All right, because I know people waiting for it. I don't think this card deserves one. Like, dude, I'm not sitting there, with my rap IQ and finding something to rhyme with Josh Emmett or Vallejos. Honestly, this card's main card is actually not too bad. I ain't gonna lie, but like the prelims and stuff, sometimes I could be asked about. I think there's like 3 women's fights. Kid you not, on this card. Shiba. You know, I hate when like predictions feel like a job. Let me disclaimer, I did no film work. I did the good old let me look and compare typology records. But I will say most of these people I have like a good understanding of how they already fight and stuff because I've seen them on recent cards. First fight of the night, Pierre Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes is the man. Sam Hughes, I know she's going to go in there with her wrestling game plan, and I know Pereira's going to go in there with her striking game plan. I will say, this Rodriguez chick, I was looking at one of her fights. Okay, maybe I did watch a bit of film on some of the fights. Not all the fights, though. I'm not going to try to, like, oh, yeah, I did 100 hours of footage. We're not doing that this week. But this girl's a really good counter striker. She doesn't throw a lot, but she waits for you to throw, and she'll counter strike you a lot. So, like, her striking is something to look out for. Sam Hughes' striking is more like, let me try to overwhelm you to get to the grappling, and I feel like Sam Hughes is going to try to do that. Pereira's, I will say her takedown average is not as high as you would think it is. It looks high because of her. There's a fight she had against, I think it was on Dana White Contender Series where she mixed it up a little bit. But I feel like she primarily likes to keep it on the feet. So I'm surprised that she has 4 takedowns a minute. That's crazy. I feel like the person who has a takedown advantage here would be Sam Hughes. When Sam Hughes gets on top of people, she does open up people. This is a close fight. Oh, man. It's close, and his WMMA so is unpredictable as well. I know that dog is Sam Hughes in this one, but I honestly don't think that's a bad dog pick. My gut's honestly telling me Sam Hughes, but I feel like via eye test, Pereira should probably be able to beat Sam Hughes, like via eye test. So do I follow my gut or follow eye test? I think I'm gonna follow. See, like when I clicked record, I was gonna pick Hughes. I'm gonna go Pereira Rodriguez. I'm gonna follow eye test, not my gut, which I feel like I should be doing anyway. So we're going Pereira for the win. All right, Elijah Smith versus Soo Young Yu. My South Korean brother-in-law, Naseyo Sung Young Yu. You guys know, brother. And he's going against Elijah Smith. Elijah Smith, like, I remember remembering his name, and then when I watching back some of his fights, I remember why I remembered him. He has pretty good wrestling. He has good grappling. He would like threaten good chokes. He has a good offensive wrestling, and I feel like his striking is pretty sound as well. Soo Young Yu, I remember him like standing in the middle of the octagon with another Asian fighter. I think it was Yao Long who got robbed by Cody Garbrandt because of eye pokes his last fight. But they were just throwing elbows at each other, just firing at each other in the middle of the octagon. These Asians know how to scrap. The difference for this fight, though, I feel like on the feet, both guys can scrap. But I feel like the difference is going to be the grappling. I feel like the grappling, even though both guys can grapple, I do think it favors Elijah Smith. His scrambling is like pretty good. So like even if you take him down, he could scramble you and get in a dominant position. This is a very close fight, but I think I'm going to go Elijah Smith. I do rate his grappling and his ability to scramble. I do think that's enough to get him the win over Soo Young Yu. So give me Elijah Smith for the W for this one. Moving on, keep it easy, keep it simple. Moving on, we got Baya Mesquita versus Montez Renon. I'm going to just straight off the bat tell you I think Mesquita is going to win this. Honestly, I didn't do enough footage work on this, but I will say that Mesquita is expected to be like the person who's going to run through her. She's undefeated. She has heavy hands from what I did look at, but I didn't look at too much. I don't think I even looked at film. I think I looked like a highlight reel or something or something, but Mesquita has the ability to hurt Rendon. Maybe the height could play a factor because Rendon's a little bit taller, but I'm just going to go Mesquita off of just like honestly the odds. I don't know what the odds are, but I'm sure Mesquita is a big favorite because she is the undefeated heavy-handed women's fighter, so I'm going Mesquita for this one. Moving on, Lorne Lacerda versus Hetcher Sosa. Now, oh my God, I didn't do any research on this fight. I didn't do any research on this fight. Hector Sosa, though, he's making his USA debut. He only fought on Dana White Contender Series. And usually people making their debut, they get given someone who they think it's possible to beat. So I think off of that alone, like off of me not knowing what I'm saying, I think I'm going to go Sousa. Hold on. Before I even pick Sousa and confirm this, I'm going to check as I speak to you guys the live odds for this one. Okay, Sousa's minus 230. I just followed the gut that I just checked the odds, and Sousa's a big favorite. Not a big favorite, but he's a sizable favorite. I call it the Dana White Contender Series debutants getting a cookie. That's what I call it. the cookie getters. The cookie getters. Their first fight in the UFC is just to push their name up more than anything. So I think the safe bet is Sousa. But I'm telling you right now, I didn't do any research. I don't even remember watching Sousa fight on Dana White Contender Series. And I never seen this Yair Rodriguez and Shell Jubilee doppelganger over here. So I don't even know. Literally ignore my opinion. I literally vibe maxed that whole pick. Okay, now we know some. Now we got some ball knowledge here. Bolaji Oki and Manuel Sousa. I actually did see Manuel Sousa's Dana White Contender Series fight. He's heavy-handed. Not Dana White Contender Series fight. His fights in PFL and Bellator. He fought in PFL and Bellator. I don't know why it said Dana White Contender Series. I don't know if he's even fought there. But Manuel Sousa, I remember watching him on Bellator and PFL. And what I've seen in him from those promotions is that he has heavy hands. So does Bolaji Oki, though. This might be one of those fights in the first round is anyone's game. My only problem with Oki is I know he's going to fight his heart out the first round trying to kill someone. Then he's going to gas. I will say Sousa in the second round, he slows down, but he's still lethal in the clinch. He throws the knee strikes, you know. Oki has too much of a negative habit of kind of like blowing his load in the first round and fatiguing. And I don't think I could trust that against like a veteran in Sousa. Sousa's fought at the highest level in other promotions, you know, a little bit. So I think I'm going to go Sousa for the win. I think he's going to beat the West African Oki. So give me Sousa for that one. Easy pickings. All right, next up, Chris Curtis versus Orolbai. I was actually in Chris Curtis live earlier. He was live on like TikTok, dude. He was yapping about everything, like, yeah, man, fucking, yeah. Put money on me, don't. He didn't tell anyone to put money on him. And I'm pretty sure I typed in his live, yo, should I put money on you? And I think he said no. Or like he said, like, I don't know, dude. So off that alone, we're going Orolbai. Now, it's like, nah. Stylistically, I do think Chris Curtis is actually a hard fight for Orolbai because his output's crazy, and he knows how to defend takedowns pretty decently. Like, I think his takedown defense is pretty decent, which could be a problem to Orolbai. Now, Orolbai, okay, why is the stats wrong? Why is saying Orolbai landed .41 strikes? Oh, my God, these stats are just horrible. What the hell's going on? But Orolbai striking, I don't think is as good as Chris Curtis, believe it or not. I think Chris Curtis, when he's on the feet, can make it a hell for Orolbai. Orolbai needs to get something going. But Orolbai's last fight, his wrestling looked really good, which makes me more comfortable in like believing him in this fight. I do think Chris Curtis is a tough ask for anyone, you know, but I do think if you have enough like volume in your hands and you can mix in the grappling, you could give Chris Curtis too much weapons to be looking at. So I think Orolbai's gonna win via being more complete. Orolbai, I was one of the biggest guys on this hype train. You know, it's not like the hype train died down. Like little bit, it's just over. I don't think he's gonna be champion anymore, but I think he should beat a Chris Curtis. But Chris Curtis is not like an easy person to just beat. You know, you don't just go in there and beat the dog shit out of Chris Curtis. But I think Orolbai can show his level if he goes in there and performs how I think he could. But I wouldn't like put like a huge amount of money on Orolbai. But I do think he's going to beat Chris Curtis. Brad Tavares versus Eric Anders. This is the battle of the old heads. Tavares coming off his first loss by finish or KO, I believe. That surprised me, that fight. And then he's going against Eric Anders. These guys are both just mid at this point in the career. I swear they fought before. I could be completely wrong, but I swear I've just seen this matchup before. But I'm going to lean Brad Tavares for this one. I know he's coming off his first knockout loss, but I feel like he's coming back with vengeance. Tavares just knows how to win fights. I feel like that's what he's best at. And it's like a gatekeeper versus another old gatekeeper. It might come down to some of the later rounds who's going to have more like fire, you know. And I think it's going to be Tavares. Could be close, but I am going to be more comfortable in Brad Tavares in this one. Next up, Victor Petrino versus Steven Asplund. Now, Asplund's a dog and he's huge. Been riding momentum, hasn't lost since I did in my Contender Series debut. And he has aura about him, I can't lie, but I'd be lying if I said he's going to beat Victor Petrino. Like, Victor Petrino is not the best fighter sometimes. He has his hits and misses, but I feel like he put on the weight and the size, and he's a marauder, you know. And I feel like his gas tank has slightly improved. Steven's going to come. He's going to fight. He's not going to be scared or intimidated, but I still think Petrino's going to probably get it done. This is probably what Asplund's going to run into the first person. He's not going to just be able to size mog. He is 6'5". He's going to have the height advantage, but I do think Petrino's a big guy too, and I feel like getting hit clean by Petrino is like a death wish. But yeah, Steven Asplund's going to run into a wall here, in my opinion. But he could actually go in there and just size mog, but I do think you need a specific amount of like explosiveness to be able to catch Petrino and put him out. I don't think Asplund has that, so I'm going Petrino for that one. All right, main card, finally. Charles Johnson coming off his loss, and then Bruno Silva coming off his win. Now, Charles Johnson's last fight, it was so confusing why he fought like that. Like, he just seemed like he was lost. He was so reactive and, like, scared or something. If he fights like that against Bruno Silva, he will lose to Bruno Silva as well. But I feel like it's a wake-up call for Charles Johnson. I don't know what he went through that fight. I remember he said, like, he's going to be back and back. I'm just, there had to have been something. The way he fought his last fight surprised me. Like, it looked like he didn't want to beat. It was so confusing. I didn't understand. I really didn't understand. It's one of those things that make you never want to put him on a parlay again. But I do think he has the length to beat a Bruno Silva, who's not that tall. You know, he's kind of he could become a punching bag. Silva becomes a punching bag if you establish dominance in like range, and I feel like Charles Johnson can do that. Johnson just got to believe in his striking and not be so twitchy and feinty and like scared of getting hit. You know, once he does that, I think it should be a comfortable win for him. And so I am going to go Charles Johnson winning. But if he fights the same as he fought last time, he will lose to Bruno Silva. But I just doubt he will make the same mistake twice. Next up, Rahiki. This guy had like the craziest Dana White Contender Series fight. He was doing good work. Like he fought like Izzy, dude. He fought very much like Izzy. I think he's like a big fan of Izzy as well. But I remember he got hurt. I like remember this still vividly in my head. He got hurt badly, but he was survived. Kid's a dog, you know. Kid's a dog. I'm actually fond of him. I believe he's Moroccan as well, like a Moroccan Adesanya, you know, in the featherweight weight class. First, it's Harry Hardwick, you know, MMA Guru's best friend who he was paid to hype up or something. Hardwick was so ass his last fight. Just got his legs taken away and then like his hobbling and wobbling. That was hilarious. Oh, dude, Harry Hardwick's the next big thing. Kid goes in there and gets fucking treated like a possum, you know, like just gets destroyed. Kid's ugly as hell. Yo, I'm going Marwan or Rahiki. I think he schools him. You know, I think he's gonna take away his low leg too. Like he has great low kicks. He has great question mark kicks, head kicks. Rahiki via master. I like Rahiki. He's on my, you know, I'm gonna keep my eye on him. He's one of those prospects I feel like have a promising future if he sticks with it. You know, he's hittable. I'll give him that. He is hittable. His chin's very high in the air, but he has good movement. He reminds me of a lot of like Izzy, so I'm gonna like be on the hype train. You know, in that last fight he showed durability, and Hardwick's just not hurting a fly. Someone who looks like that's not hurting the fly, you know, the fly is not damaged, brother. No fly swatter even damage this guy. You know, I think Hardwick gets hard pressed, hard skilled, hard mogged. I got Rahiki by KO or points, you know. All right, next up, Andre Fili versus Jose Miguel Delgado. Delgado is a dog. He's coming off a loss, guys, but I still can't take the fact that his striking and his wrestling is really sound. I think he's going to smoke Andre Fili. I still think Jose Miguel Delgado is one of the best prospects at featherweight. I don't care what his last fight said or what his fight fight showed. I do believe he's still that guy, and I think he's going to smoke Andre Fili. He's just too well-rounded for Fili. Fili's very hittable, and his chin's questionable at times. And I know Fili's coming off momentum. He's currently coming off a win, but I do think Jose Miguel Delgado should wake up from that last performance and show why he's one of the best featherweights and why I claim he's one of the best featherweights. I think he gets it done. He has good height on him, good striking, good wrestling. He's well-rounded. I got Jose Miguel Delgado for the win. Cutelaba and Umar Sy. This just depends which version of which shows up, eh? I'm sure Cutelaba is going to be the big underdog, but Cutelaba can fight. Like, when he shows up to fight, he's actually not too bad. Umar Sy, like, he's not bad either. He has, like, times where I'm like, dude, you need to let your hands go more. Like, you look a little bit tentative and scared. Yeah, and it kind of turns problematic. There's one fight I was so, like, not impressed that I remember of him. I think I went to decision. I was like, he didn't look like he wanted to be there. He's still young. He's still learning, but I think he should get through a Cutelaba, to be fair. I think his striking, explosiveness, and athleticism is a little bit too much for Cutelaba. So I think he just athlete maxes, maybe wins the first two, or maybe finish him in the first two. He might lose the last round if it gets there, but he'll do enough to get the win is the point. So I got Umar Sy by KO points. That's a fair assessment. Amanda Lemos versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. This is a good one. Dude, I'm actually fond of Jillian Robertson. I think she's going to go in there. She's going to maul Amanda Lemos. Amanda Lemos is actually pretty good defensively. If she could keep it standing, it would be interesting. Robertson sometimes scares me the way she fights, but she's like the closest thing to Khabib we have in WMMA. You know, she's red-haired Khabib, you know. So I think she goes in there, she mauls Amanda Lemos, or she just stalls the Lemos against the fence. I'm sure Lemos is going to be active. Like, Lemos is not someone you could just hold too easily against the fence. So I'm sure it's going to be a little bit game, but I do think Lemos is possible to take down and kind of control. So that's why I think Robertson wins the fight. Takes her down, lands some ground and pound shots. Give me Gillian Robertson. Then the main event of the evening. I just want to say this before I pick. This fight's closer than people think. I watched footage. Kevin Vallejos is a little bit too tentative, you know, at times. You know, he spends too much time, like, waiting, you know. And, like, his boxing defense is actually not that great. He gets hit a lot via boxing, specifically exchanges. But, like, Josh Emmett's kind of predictable. He'll, like, throw he'll, like, elongate a body jab or a body straight. He'll throw it to the body, and then he'll, like, try to go up top of the overhand. pretty predictable. I'm pretty sure Vallejos is going to do his footage. This is a pretty 50-50 fight in terms of fight style, but the youth, like a 40-year-old versus someone kid in their 20s, the youth is going to play a big part of this. I think Vallejos is like 23, right? 22. He's young. I don't know. He's young. And then Emmett's 40. I think that speed advantage that comes with the age is going to benefit Vallejos, but I actually think the fight's closer than you guys think. Of course, his one loss is against Gene Silva, which is a great person to lose to, but I think Vallejos should get it done. We're probably not going to see much wrestling, which opens up the Josh Emmett puncher's chance opportunity, but I do think Kevin Vallejos, his youth should help him in this one, so I'm going to go Vallejos. As far as a parlay that's a lock, I don't know. Maybe Miguel Delgado or Rahiki. And that might be it. Miguel Delgado and Rahiki. And then maybe just throw in a Robertson win. I think that'll hit for a good amount. But just how to get this video out, bro. I like fight nights like this that don't get me entertained or like excited or kind of unfortunate. But I'll still be live streaming. I'll still be watching. Let me know what you guys think about the picks down below. That's it for me. God bless. 2, 3, 4.